Hi, and welcome to my Assistive Technology Blast for March 30th, 2020. I'm Laura Hoffman with Missouri Assistive Technology, and today we'll continue to explore tools to help your student who may be struggling with reading and writing. Our focus will be the new Clicker 8 application, which can be run on either Windows or Mac platforms. This product is for someone who's not quite ready for the Got It package that we talked about last week or other applications such as CoWriter. It's designed for that student that may need more support in the actual construction of sentences. Earlier this month, Missouri Assistive Technology, along with Cricksoft, the manufacturer of Clicker 8, hosted a training day at our facility in Blue Springs, Missouri. We recorded this session and I am attaching it to this presentation. The folks at Cricksoft would like for you to be able to introduce this package to your students. They are offering a free 6-week trial of Clicker 8. To take advantage of this offer, go to the link below or www.cricksoft.com/home-installation. for all of the information you need to get started. There you'll see the installation instructions and some helpful hints to help you to get the most out of this software application. An activation code has been provided to Missouri Assistive Technology and we're sharing it with you. It too is listed below. It's a string of capital letters and numbers. I'll read it to you slowly, but it is listed in the notes for your convenience. It's the number 8, TEXAFAK NXXFC Q9UTM. And as always, the staff at Missouri Assistive Technology are here to help with any questions that you may have. Remember, you don't need to know assistive technology. You just need to know Missouri Assistive Technology.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining in today. We're actually going to go through Clicker Writer right now, and then you're going to have a little break in between to kind of explore and come back at me with any questions before we look at our main literacy support called Clicker 8 after. So my name is Bryn. I'm from Crick Software. Crick Software is an education company based over in the United Kingdom. And what they do is they create literacy resources for students. So really the main audience that we try to support is students of all abilities. So students who physically have trouble moving their bodies, students with learning disabilities, students who love to read and write, and those who really truly dislike it, as well as emerging and beginner readers and writers. So this is just a demonstration today to try to get your feet wet, get a bit familiar with this software if you think that this would be a good fit for a student that you might be working with. So again, if there's any questions that come up, just let me know. Feel free to stop me. I will try to get to everyone and make sure that you guys have enough time to take a look at Clicker Writer yourself and then jump into Clicker 8. So to try to just get a bit of a feel before I get going here, and anyone can jump in and let me know this, but is it mostly like iPads and Chromebooks that your students have access to, as well as Windows and Mac computers, or what is really the main device that your students have at their fingertips when they are at school, if you know off the top of your head?
You guys mostly Chromebook? Okay. Can you hear us, Bryn?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so mostly iPads, Chromebooks. We have some Mac users. Any Windows 10? No. Okay, so Chromebooks, iPad, and Macs.
Okay, thank you. So a bit of a mix here. So Clicker Writer, which is what we're going to look at right now, this is the main support for the iPad and the Chromebook only. Clicker Writer was just introduced about a month ago, actually, so it is quite new, and it has taken all three of our apps called Clicker Sentences, Clicker Connect, and Word Banks, and it's put all three of those onto one platform. So it's a really great way for a student who say they're at more at the beginner level to work with Clicker Sentences and then move on with Connect and Word Bank. So we're going to take a look at Clicker Writer first, how to create a few of these sets, and of course, some of the new features that we introduced in here. So right now we are looking at a clicker sentence set, and really this is the first app in the progression, and why that is because we're working toward a single sentence outcome for this student. So you'll see where my cursor is blinking. This is what is considered the document where the student creates their work. That is separate from the clicker sentence set, which is sitting on top of the document here, containing all of these words inside of cells that a student is going to click on if they're on a Chromebook, or tap on if they're on the iPad, and it's going to be sent up into the document here. And once I put punctuation at the end of my sentence,
Tommy is reading a book.
That is speech feedback, and it's going to read my sentence back to me in a very clear and concise voice. So it's going to do that every time I add punctuation at the end. So again, just getting students into the groove of remembering to put punctuation at the end when they're done creating a sentence. You'll also notice that it was highlighting each word in the color red as speech feedback was going along. You can turn that on or off, but I do just like to show that. It gives a good visual for maybe a beginner reader and writer to visually see those words as they're being spoken aloud off of the page there. So again, we're in clicker sentences working towards single sentence outcomes here. You'll see over on the right hand side, I have my 4 grid tools. I have my red delete button right here, the orange new line. This is one of my personal favorites. This is the blue sound shift button. And what I really like about this one is that when I pop it on, it's going to allow me to hear one of my words or phrases without actually sending it into the document. So just an example, we'll click on Tommy.
Tommy.
And it's going to read it aloud for us. So I'll do it again.
Book.
If you didn't want to have to keep going back to sound shift and turning it on and off, just double click and it'll stay on for you all the way through there. So again, just a really good auditory feedback to hear your choices that you have available. On to the right of that is the green on-screen keyboard icon. So if a student could benefit from an on-screen keyboard, we have that here, and then they can toggle back and forth to their set through that. On the left-hand side, there's just the blue arrows to get back and forth to a particular sentence set that you're working on. A new feature that we have now in Clicker Writer, this is called the voice note tool, and it's up in the top left-hand corner, and it looks like a little microphone icon. And I just clicked on that, and essentially what this does is it's going to record my voice. So say I'm a student, I have a lot of ideas, but I'm really struggling to get them all out onto the page. This is great for more of like a pre-writing kind of scenario, and then I can play it back and make sure I'm happy with it. Select done, and my little voice note will appear for me in the left-hand corner. So it's just really great to get that, again, that auditory feedback for a student who does have a lot of ideas but is really struggling structuring them onto the page. So that is a really great tool that we have in our main literacy resource support, Clicker 8, that we brought into Clicker Writer. So we're really excited that that is here now. Another tool that we have here within Clicker Writer is called Word Prediction. And it's this little box right in the middle here with the numbers 1, 2, 3 on the left and open boxes on the right. And when I pop that on, these little boxes appear for me above my set. And what's going to appear in those boxes are words that Word Prediction thinks I might be looking for to create a specific sentence. So an example, let's say I'm a student, I'm typing out my favorite color is, and as I'm doing that, Word Prediction is picking up on words it thinks I'm looking for, as well as next word prediction also. So a really great tool offering more adventurous vocabulary. When I was doing lots of student teaching, I would have students always asking me how to spell a specific word. But this really helps to remedy that in the sense that we are giving them a foundation to at least try to spell a word that might seem rather difficult or rather advanced, to really expand on the vocabulary that they are using in their writing. So really enjoy Word Prediction, and that is in all 3 of the apps in Clicker Writer. Next to that is our little speech feedback icon. Every time I hit this, it's going to read everything out loud for me that's in my document there. So say, a student has put a few sentences together, and now they're ready to hear that back. Selecting the speech feedback icon would be useful there. Next to that, we can edit fonts, sizes, colors. We can change the document background as well. Here we can access that. I'm going to point out our toolbar up at top before I show you how you can create your own sentence set. And so I'm just going to take a look first at our little File Explorer folder here, and we'll see with my files, I'm hooked up to my Google Drive right now. So let's try to think of a scenario here where Google Drive comes in handy. Maybe I have a classroom folder, and I can create individual folders for my students to save their work to. And that way it creates a really organized sort of view for me to be able to go and see what work students have been creating and push out work to each other there. Underneath my files, you'll see what's called learning grids, and I'm a big fan of learning grids, and why that is because this is a website that comes free with Clicker Writer as well as Clicker 8, and it's a resource bank of all the different sets. Of course, we're in Clicker Writer right now, so you'll only see the sentence sets, connect sets, and the word banks available. But these are all pre-made sets that the curriculum team develops and creates. So if you don't have the time to make your own set, you can go and pull some from here for a student to begin working on, and they can edit those and save them and work on them as much as they would like. So a really big time saver for teachers and students there, and there's many different ones to choose from. Under learning grids, we do just have like a few samples of the sets. So this is actually where I pulled like our sentence set that we're looking from today. So if you just need a quick example, maybe to show a student or another educator, you could access those there. On the right of that, I have my little document icon. So remember where I am right now, where my student has created their work, that is the document. If I wanted to clear everything out and start something fresh, I would select New Document here. If I wanted to save that work that that student has created, I could do a little Save As and a Clicker document and then save appropriately here. With that, I can also do Send a Copy. And when I do that, it is automatically going to put my work in this email for me with a subject line and a little message. The student would just have to go and put the address of where they would like to send that off to. So it is very, it is simple, I will say, in that a student is not having to pick and pull to be able to share when they're on the Chromebook or iPad, it's just going to pop it in this email for us in this little email tab, and then it's off and running into the world there. A student can also print their document as well. Next to that, I have my little clicker set tab. When I go ahead and select a new clicker set, again, these are the 3 sets that we offer for Clicker Writer for iPad and Chromebook. These are here. So if I want to begin working on one, I could just go ahead and select, and it would bring me into this edit view, which we're going to jump into in just a few minutes. But I do just want to make that distinction that the set where our words and cells appear is different from the document. And then of course, to save a set, we can do our save as, or we can send it off as well. Over on the right hand side, I have my little question mark icon here, so if you ever need some assistance while you're in Clicker Writer, this would be a great way to watch tutorials or access help if you are in need of that. Over next to that is our little settings icon. So again, we can change our font size here with document defaults. Right now, our speech, we have Josh on. We also have Ella. We are a UK-based company, so you will see these other voices available as well. Right now, Speak Cell is on. This is like essentially acting as the sound shift, but if I were to do a right click on that cell, it would read it aloud for me. You could turn that on or off if that's appropriate. Again, the highlight color is on, highlighting each word as it is read aloud for us. You can turn that on or off. Tools and controls here in my toolbar, we'll see that word predictor and voice notes is on, as well as our text format, but we can turn that off if need be here. With my keyboard, we were looking at it before, it was all scrunched together, but we could space that out as well if that would be more appropriate for a student that we're working with. With accessibility, my little show clicks and taps, that's just this little red dot icon popping on, and super keys. I'm going to try to pop that on, but it's not wanting to do it for me right now, so sorry about that. But essentially what that is it makes a much larger target area to select my cells, or when I go into my on-screen keyboard. So it offers a much larger target area for me. Under suggestions, this is where we can really play around with word prediction settings here. So I'm just turning word prediction back on. I can choose how many words I'd like to display down below, as well as how big those words might appear for me. So I can do that here. Pictures, send a picture with text, we have that on because we're now able to include visuals in our cells, which we're going to take a look at right now. But before we do that, I do just want to point out that this language here, right now we do not have our products speaking in different languages. They are just in different accents, but later down the line, I'm sure that will be in our future. So we're actually going to go ahead and create our own sentence set right now. And to be able to do that first, I want to go over, I'm on the far right hand side with this little window with a pencil icon. And when I go ahead and select that, it brings me into this edit view. And so this is where we will then zip back over to the left and click on clicker set, new clicker set, and a sentence set is what we'd like. And of course, we already had a new one dumped in here to begin with, so that's why that didn't change there. So now we need to create our sentences to put together. So this little tiny plus icon is what we need to do, and add a multiple grids here. So once I do that, this little white box pops up for me. And this is where, let's say, an educator who's maybe been working on a few sentences with a student could copy and paste those in here from maybe a Google Doc, or we can type sentences in as well. So I'm just going to type out 2 sentences for us. All right, so I've really structured it this way with each sentence on its own line with punctuation at the end so that I don't have any run-on sets. So this is going to make a lot more sense once I do create grids over on the right. And you'll see my sentences are appearing on the left-hand side, and how I can edit those sentences is over here right on the right-hand side. So we'll see my sentence up at top. I can go ahead and edit this and take out words, add words in at any point in time. Model is how we can make the sentence appear for us if we would like that option above our sentence set. So right now it's appearing as none. I'm going to switch it on to view and copy, which we'll see what that looks like when I run this activity. But view and copy will place the sentence above our set for us. So that's great for a student who really needs that extra support to see how that sentence goes. View and remember, I believe a little eyeball icon would pop up, and a student would click on that to see the sentence, but when they put it together, the sentence will disappear. Listen, it'll just play back how that sentence goes for us aloud, but the student does not have any visual of how that sentence is appearing for us. Over for order, this is how we can make those cells, make those words in the cells appear for us. Right now it's sentence order, so going in the correct order in which that sentence goes, or we can randomize those words if we'd like to. So again, I'm just going to pop this one on for sentence order in this case. Again, I was talking about the new visual support that we have here in Clicker Writer to be able to add a visual to a cell. So I just selected our swimming cell, and when I did that, this little white box icon popped up for me. Now I see a few things here. I see the little mountain icon, which I'm going to go ahead and select, and I'm going to do Crick Picks. And this searches our Crick Pick library, which has over 4,000 pictures here. It's only pulling from our Crick resources, not online, and I can go ahead and select a picture that is appropriate for me to support that term. Students can go ahead and take their own picture, or they could search their own pictures from their library if they'd like to include those. So again, I just wanted to point out that visual support there that we have now. And I am ready to put my sentence sets together. So in order to begin doing that, select Go in the top right. And again, I'm just going to turn off word prediction, and the fastest way to clear everything out in your document is selecting that new document icon button. And now this is the view and copy version. So I have my whole sentence above my set for me. I can click on that.
Today I will go swimming.
And speech feedback will read that to me. And as the student, I can go ahead and make my selections of my words. And again, if I just make a mistake, there's that red delete button.
Today I will go swimming.
And that speech feedback there. So again, sentence sets is really setting the foundation for those students who are maybe just beginning to read and write. Maybe they're not even reading and writing at all. But really we're working toward a single sentence outcome here. So any questions about what we have seen so far? Any questions about sentence sets in Clicker Writer before we take a look at the next set?
No, we're good, Bryn. Keep going.
All right, Laura, no worries. So I know that this is quite a bit of information. So if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, it's all right. This is all just trying to, again, get your feet wet and take a look through here. So the next set in our progression, it's called a connect set. And I do just want to pull one from our Learning Grids website, again, just to give you a little look-see of what this looks like. And this is one of my favorite connect sets. This is about objects that were once living or have never been alive. So what is a connect set? Again, a connect set is the next app in the progression, and it is truly offering a ton of visual support here, as well as lots of student choice. You will see this looks quite different from sentence sets in the sense that We have many different words and phrases to choose from, as well as different answers. So this is really offering students a chance to build off of ideas with color-coded parts of speech. With we'll also add in with sentence starters as well. So this is really getting a student from point A to B, if you will, who might have trouble transitioning from one idea to the next, who is still needing that transitional support for reading and writing here. So again, a student would just select a different choice. We have a key. Was that alive, once living, or has it never been alive?
A key has never been alive.
And a student could go back and forth through here. Before I show you how to make one, I do just want to pull another one that I just remembered off the top of my head here, because I do just want to really emphasize that in Connect, it really helps with sentence starter activities here. So just bear with me while I see if it's still here. Yes, all right, this is the one. This is a daily check-in Connect set, and I really like this one. It's talking about emotions, but what we have here is a setup for beginning this sentence. So what day is it today? Today is Friday. And we would use our arrow to get to the next choice. So we have all these different feelings listed below within these cells. So again, what I really emphasize in Connect sets is that we're really personalizing it. We're really branching off of so many unique ideas, if you will, here, and making it a collaborative activity. Maybe you are asking your students, how are we all feeling today? We can include our own pictures, our own words, and go ahead and add these in. So again, I really just truly like to point out that Connect sets are really offering that student choice, those sentence starters, and working a sentence from beginning, middle to end. So we're going to create one right now, and in order to do that, again, we need to go into edit mode. That's in the top right. And I'm here, and I need to now do my new clicker set, and this is a Connect set. And once I do that, this looks a bit different from creating a sentence set. And what we'll see here is we're dealing with clusters and cells. So we'll see I've selected the choose cell, and I want to change that text that's appearing inside of that. That's not what I want. Once I have that cell selected, I can now do that. Up top where it says cell text, I can take out this word and put in whatever I'd like to. So let's think of a scenario. Let's say maybe we're talking about professions, things we want to be when we grow up. So I'm just going to start typing in when I grow up here, and as I'm doing that, it's appearing in my cell for me below. So again, this is requiring a bit more setup, if you will, versus a sentence set, and that's not to say that a student would never be able to pick this up. It does just require a bit of practice from the help of an educator. And I do point out it is quite fun to do because you are collaborating, you're coming up with different ideas, again, words or phrases, different topics. So I'm just going through here, and I've selected this whole cluster. I know that the cluster is selected because there's that red highlight around. If I wanted to get rid of this whole cluster, I can do that once it's selected with the little garbage can icon. Yes, I'm sure I want to delete. And if I ever wanted to create more clusters, I could do that with the little plus icon. And if I wanted to create more cells, just make sure a cell was selected and hit that plus icon there. All right, so we're talking about professions. I'm now going to show you how you can populate cells really quickly here. I've made sure that a whole cluster is selected. So now up at top, you'll see it says cluster content and no longer cell text because a cluster is selected here. So again, we're talking about professions we might want to be when we grow up. So as I begin typing in here, they are populating the cells for me down below. So just a really fast way to be able to do that. And then of course we are in Clicker Connect. We are very visual here. I want a picture to support this term. Just make sure that cell is selected. Jump back over to CrickPix and it's going to automatically search that picture for us. So that really rich visual support that we would like to include. And we'll just go ahead and grab one for pilot. Of course, a student could include their own picture as well. And these cells are a bit small here, so I'm just going to come out and maximize the height on those. And again, color-coded parts of speech just to distinguish one cell from another. And I'm just going to get rid of this last cluster for us, just make it nice and clean. And we are ready to go now. So we're going to roll out by selecting the Go button in the top right. Again, I'm just going to clear out my document. And now our student has a Connect set ready to go with those different sentence starters and getting from one place to another. I see I missed out B, so in that event I could essentially go back and add that in. And then I would add in my teacher and put that period at the bottom.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher.
All right, so of course you could go back in and make that edit there to make sure that you have to be, but again, Clicker Connect, all about those transitions, that student choice, really personalized support, the visuals as well. And again, these are on learning grids, so in the event that you really need one really quickly to begin working on, you're having a bit of difficulty creating your own, just pull one from learning grids and modify it to your choosing. Any questions about Clicker Connect?
There aren't any hands up, so you're good to go.
All right, no worries. So we are going to finish up Clicker Writer by looking at the last app in the progression, and that is word banks. So I'm just going to pull again a pre-made one. I'm just going to clear up my document. And so again, this is the third app in the progression of apps here. And word banks is essentially getting students to write longer pieces of text with the support of A to Z or topic-specific word banks. I know that what I'm looking at right now, this is a topic-specific word bank, and I can tell that because I have all my different topics down below in these cells for me. So when I'm going from one topic to the other, all of these words in cells are falling under that topic for me. So word banks is really for the student who is possibly at more of the independent writing level, but potentially needs more whole word support, that word prediction, or those sentence starters here. So this is, again, a topic-specific word bank. What I'm going to show you is creating an A to Z word bank. So that is more appropriate for a student who's maybe pulling from an article or a very large amount of content. Topic-specific word banks are maybe more appropriate. Yes, we still are dealing with a lot of vocabulary terms here, but we're not pulling from a very dense article with lots of dates, lots of terms here. Just trying to make that distinction between topic versus A to Z word bank. So to make our own, again, the drill, it is edit view, new clicker set, word bank, the plus icon, add multiple grids. Again, topic or alphabetical grid. Alphabetical grid is what we're going to go with right now. So this is essentially, again, dealing with a very large amount of content. I've just copied and pasted this article about New York City, maybe from an article that I was searching. Maybe we took a trip there as a class, and now we've come back to the classroom and our teacher is telling us we need to write about it. So we'll see, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of content. It's really dense. There's dates floating around here. I need to really try to break that up. So before I do that and make that into an A to Z word bank, you'll see down at the bottom it says exclude the 100 most common English words. In this case, I'm just going to pop that on because it's going to get rid of any words that might be repeating themselves in this case. So now for the fun part, go ahead and create your grid. And you will see on the left-hand side our alphabet. And over on the right, you'll see all the words that started with B in that article are going to fall under the letter B here. Again, you could go ahead and add in a picture. Maybe you visited the botanical garden. And then we're going to go in the top right. So again, now we know that this is an A to Z word bank because down at the bottom, we see our whole alphabet is appearing for us down below. So again, I really emphasize here in word banks to teachers and students that we have to think of it as almost a game because we're trying to get students to spend longer amounts of time on their writing. I've dealt with a lot of students who they look at a piece of text and it's just a matter of where do we begin? There's too much that I'm looking at. It's too overwhelming. Word banks really combats that because we can tell a student to go ahead and pick a few terms, maybe in this case in the letter P, and begin writing a few sentences off of those ideas that we see in the word bank of the letter P. So it's really just all about giving students a prompt to begin writing so that if they are feeling as if they're already stuck or they're going to be because, writing is already a very complex task, as you know. We're just trying to give students a starting point here to begin going, and of course spending more time and enjoying and getting a much more engaging and really enriching experience throughout their reading and writing and literacy careers here. So again, that was word banks. We looked at clicker sentences, clicker connect, as well as a few of the toolbar features here. And again, Clicker Writer is for the iPad and Chromebook only. So any questions now that we are at the end? If not, I think you guys are going to segue into trying out Clicker Writer for maybe like 20 minutes or half an hour, right, Laura? And then we're going to jump over to Clicker 8. So any questions for me as of right now?
I do have a couple. I think I missed when you were creating the A to Z word bank. What did you open up? I think I looked down when you did it. Copy the text into.
Yes, yep, so sorry, I did that really quickly. So I had actually copied some text from a Word document prior, and what I did was, again, edit mode, then I went to the new clicker set,
Yes.
Word bank, and then the little plus icon, I'm sorry it's really tiny, but this is where I went. And I did add multiple grids, this button. And that was when I got the prompt. Do you want to do a topic or alphabetical grid? I went with alphabetical. And this is where you saw me. I pasted it really fast. Sorry about that. But I pasted it in what I copied from that Word doc, and it popped right in for me here. And then, of course, I went in and I created my grid, and it popped right up for me there.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Any other questions?
Fran, I have one. Are you able to use the keyboard function with word prediction along with the word banks, or do you have to just populate from the word banks directly?
Sorry, it's a little bit hard to hear you. I heard something about word prediction and word banks.
Yes. Are you able to use the keyboard with the word prediction as well as the word banks together to create sentences?
Yep. So all at the same time. I have my word banks down below. I can pop on word prediction here, and I believe that it is sensitive to what is appearing in your word banks here. So I'll just try and see here Yep. So it is going to pull words that it detects are within your word bank. Does that help answer your question?
It does.
Okay, fantastic. All right. How's it looking over there, Laura? Any other questions I can answer?
We have one more.
Sure.
Is the unique learning system, the curriculum there, does this sync up with any kind of like web-based or curriculum like that?
Sorry, I
So that
caught
we,
just a
that's
bit
okay.
of that. Could you repeat that one more time?
But we use unique learning system, our curriculum for our special ed, and I didn't know if this would sync up with that, or if there's any way, just so that teachers don't have to create word banks and stuff. If there's something that they could utilize to get the content into this app.
Okay, so I'm not okay, did you say Uni Learning Systems?
Unique,
Okay.
ULS.
Okay, I am unfortunately not familiar with that. So at this time, I'm not sure how that might be able to sync up. This our software. It does best if an educator and a teacher has one of our products on their device because it talks back and forth to each other to be able to share and push out work. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how that would be compatible with unique learning systems. I would definitely have to look further into that for you there.
Thank you.
Okay, Bryn, we're going to take a break so we can go over to the lab and do some activities. What time do you want to resume?
Yeah, sounds good, Laura. So by the time I'm just like anticipating by the time you guys get all set up and actually start running with it, maybe around like half an hour might be sufficient. What do you think?
Sounds good to us. Okay, we'll be back on.
Okay. So, yep. So sounds good. So what I'll do is I'm going to end this webinar, and you guys are over in Missouri, so it is 1:18 there. It's 2:18 for me over in Connecticut. So I'm gonna let you go right now, and then how about we come back on in half an hour, and just make sure that you do the Clicker 8 link for the next one. That's what we'll be looking at.
All right, Bryn, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Laura, and thank you everyone for joining, and I'll see you back in half an hour.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Bye-bye.